Have you ever felt like the harder you try, the more distant she becomes? You've probably heard all the typical advice: be attentive, always be available, show her you care at every turn. But what if I told you that everything you've been doing might be pushing her away? What if the key to unlocking real attraction, the kind that lasts, lies in doing less, not more? It sounds counterintuitive, right? But stay with me. Today, we're diving deep into a paradox that could revolutionize your approach to relationships. Why stepping back might just be the secret to making her want you more. Think about it. The dating world is a minefield of myths and misconceptions. We're bombarded by movies, songs, and social media posts that glorify relentless pursuit, the grand gestures, the non-stop devotion, the ever-present doting lover. You might even believe that the more you give, the more she'll love you. But in reality, that constant effort can often feel suffocating, even when it's well-intentioned. The truth is, attraction thrives on a delicate balance of connection and independence. And when you master this balance, you unlock a level of intrigue and respect that sets you apart. This is where Stoicism comes into play. Grounding yourself in self-assuredness, mastering your emotions, and becoming the kind of man who commands attention without seeking it. In this journey, I'll reveal 7 powerful reasons why she needs you to step back to truly love you. Each reason is a puzzle piece that, when put together, paints a picture of genuine attraction. By the end, you'll see how this shift can transform not just your relationships, but your entire perspective on self-worth and connection. Ready to change the game? Let's dive in. 1. The Art of Genuine Indifference. Let's start with a question. What happens when someone's always there, always available, always eager to please? It's nice at first, sure. But over time, doesn't it start to feel a little predictable? Even a bit boring? The reality is, humans are wired to crave mystery, to be drawn to what we can't fully grasp. And that's where the art of genuine indifference comes into play. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let's clarify what genuine indifference means. It's not about being cold, aloof, or playing manipulative games. It's about having a life so rich, so fulfilling, that her presence or absence doesn't dictate your happiness. When you embody this mindset, you radiate a quiet confidence, a calm assurance that you're complete, with or without her attention. And trust me, she'll notice. Think about the last time you met someone who seemed completely at ease in their own skin. They weren't trying too hard to impress. They didn't hang on every word or seek constant validation. Instead, they exuded an effortless charm simply by being themselves. That's the energy we're aiming for here. Genuine indifference sends a powerful message. I value you, but I don't depend on you. This isn't about withholding affection or playing hard to get. It's about balancing your interest with a healthy dose of independence. You're showing her that while you enjoy her company, your world doesn't revolve around it. Imagine this scenario. You're seeing someone and for a few days she seems distant. The old you might have panicked, sending multiple texts, asking if everything's okay, trying to bridge the gap with more effort. But the new you take a step back. You trust that if she wants to connect, she will. In the meantime, you focus on your own life. You pursue your passions, spend time with friends, and keep your energy grounded. And guess what? That space you create speaks volumes. It whispers, I'm confident in who I am, and I don't need to chase validation. Here's the twist. Genuine indifference doesn't diminish her attraction, it heightens it. When you're not constantly available, you become a puzzle she wants to solve. She starts to wonder, what's he up to? Why isn't he chasing me like everyone else? And that curiosity is the spark of deeper interest. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our mindset, our emotional state. You can't control how she feels or how she responds, but you can control how you show up. When you embody genuine indifference, you're not playing a role, you're stepping into your authentic power. You're showing her that you're a man with a life, a purpose, and a self-respect that isn't up for negotiation. This isn't about withholding care. It's about showing care in a way that respects both her space and your own. It's about letting her come to you, not because she feels obligated, but because she's genuinely drawn to your energy. When you practice genuine indifference, you're giving her the freedom to choose you. And isn't that what true connection is all about? So here's your challenge. The next time you feel the urge to overinvest, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I acting from a place of confidence or insecurity? Let her experience the magnetism of a man who values his time, his energy, and his peace. Trust the process. You'll be amazed at how powerful this shift can be. What do you think? Have you noticed how stepping back can change the dynamic? Share your thoughts below, and let's explore this together. 2. The psychological effect of emotional detachment. Now, let me ask you this. Why is it that the men who seem least invested often capture the most attention? Why do the ones who don't flood her phone with texts or eagerly jump at every opportunity to please her end up being the ones she can't stop thinking about? The answer lies in the profound psychological effect of emotional detachment. And no, this isn't about being cold or indifferent in a way that lacks warmth. This is about mastering your inner world so that external forces, like her actions or responses, don't dictate your sense of self. Here's the reality. People value what feels scarce. Attention, when given too freely, can often lose its weight. Think about the thrill of receiving a compliment from someone who doesn't hand them out like candy. It feels special, doesn't it? That's the effect of emotional detachment in action. By not being overly eager or perpetually available, you create a space where your attention carries more meaning. Let's dive deeper. Emotional detachment isn't about withholding, it's about conserving your energy for what truly matters. When she senses that you're not easily swayed by every shift in her behavior, it signals strength. It tells her, consciously or subconsciously, that you're someone who doesn't crumble at the first sign of emotional turbulence. And this steadiness, it's magnetic. Imagine a situation where she doesn't respond to your message right away. The average guy might double down, sending follow-up texts, questioning what went wrong, or overthinking her silence. But the man who practices emotional detachment, he's unfazed. He doesn't let the delay shake his confidence. He understands that her response time doesn't define his worth or the value of their connection. Here's where the magic happens. When you detach emotionally, you create a subtle, powerful tension. She starts to wonder why you're not reacting as expected. Why aren't you chasing? Why do you seem so calm, so self-assured? And that curiosity, that desire to figure you out, begins to grow. She starts to think about you more, to want your attention more, precisely because it's not given away too easily. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes from mastering our responses, not controlling external events. This principle applies beautifully here. You can't control how she feels or how quickly she replies, but you can control your emotional state. By doing so, you demonstrate a level of composure and inner peace that sets you apart from the crowd. Here's a quick exercise. The next time you find yourself tempted to react impulsively, whether it's sending a second text, overanalyzing her behavior, or trying to force a connection, pause. Take a moment to ground yourself. Remind yourself of this truth. Her actions don't determine your value. When you embody this mindset, you'll find that your energy shifts. You become more centered, more confident, and more attractive. But let's make this interactive. I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed how staying calm and detached can change the dynamic in your relationships? Maybe you've experienced a moment where taking a step back actually brought someone closer. Share your story in the comments below. And if this insight is hitting home for you, give this video a like. It's a small action, but it helps us build a community of men dedicated to growth and understanding. Remember, emotional detachment isn't about playing games. It's about valuing your peace and showing that your self-worth is unwavering. That's the kind of energy that captivates, intrigues, and keeps her coming back for more. So what are you waiting for? Let's talk about it. 3. Mastering the balance between caring and independence. Let's face it, striking the perfect balance between showing interest and maintaining independence is no easy feat. You want to let her know you care, but you don't want to come across as needy or overly invested. This fine line is where many men stumble, either by smothering her with attention or withdrawing completely in an attempt to seem detached. The secret lies not in extremes but in mastering the delicate interplay between affection and autonomy. When you strike this balance, you're signaling two things simultaneously: that you value her and enjoy her company, but that your sense of self isn't tied to her responses. This combination is incredibly attractive because it creates a dynamic that feels both secure and exciting. She knows you're interested, but she also knows you won't fall apart if she takes time for herself. Consider this analogy. Attraction is like a dance. If one partner moves too aggressively, the rhythm is lost. But when both partners move in harmony, taking turns to lead and follow, the dance becomes fluid and captivating. In relationships, this means giving her space to step toward you while you maintain your steady pace. Now let's break this down. When you care too much too soon, constantly checking in, offering endless compliments, or bending over backward to make her happy, you might think you're showing devotion. But in her eyes, it can signal insecurity. She might start to feel like she holds all the power in the relationship, which can paradoxically make her lose respect and interest. On the flip side, caring too little or acting overly detached can create a sense of uncertainty or even frustration. She might feel like you're not invested at all, leading her to question the connection. So, how do you navigate this? The key is to stay grounded in your own sense of worth while showing genuine interest in her as a person. One way to achieve this balance is through mindful communication. Instead of bombarding her with texts throughout the day, focus on quality over quantity. When you do engage, make your conversations meaningful and present. Let her feel that when you're with her, whether in person or through messages, she has your full attention. But when the conversation ends, shift your focus back to your own life and goals. Another important aspect is maintaining your boundaries. If she asks for something that disrupts your schedule or priorities, don't automatically rearrange everything to accommodate her. It's okay to say no when necessary. This doesn't make you any less caring. It shows that you respect both her and yourself. And believe me, a man who respects his own time and energy earns respect from others. Here's an example. Let's say you've planned a night out with friends and she asks if you can meet instead. You could cancel your plans to see her, thinking it will show how much you care. But what if instead you let her know you already have plans and suggest another time? This simple action communicates that while you're interested in spending time with her, you won't compromise your commitments to prove it. It's a subtle but powerful way to establish a healthy balance. When you master this balance, you'll find that she begins to lean in. She'll appreciate that your life doesn't revolve around her, which in turn makes her more curious about you. This dynamic fosters mutual respect and deepens the connection. She'll feel drawn to you not because you're always available, but because you show up with confidence and intention when it matters. Ultimately, this balance is about embracing the duality of human connection, the desire to connect deeply while maintaining your individuality. It's a dance of giving and receiving, of being fully present yet comfortably independent. And when you can walk this line with grace, you'll find that attraction flows naturally, creating a foundation for a relationship built on respect, admiration, and genuine interest. 4. Understanding interest and attraction. Attraction is a mysterious force, isn't it? One moment everything seems to be going well, you're both connecting, laughing, enjoying each other's company, and the next, she seems to pull back. You start to wonder, did I do something wrong? Should I try harder? But here's the truth that many overlook. Attraction doesn't thrive in certainty, it thrives in balance, curiosity, and a sense of mutual investment. One of the most common mistakes men make in dating is showing too much interest too soon. It feels natural, even noble, to wear your heart on your sleeve, to let her know exactly how you feel, and to make her the center of your attention. After all, isn't that what romance is all about? But in the early stages, this kind of overenthusiasm can have the opposite effect. Instead of drawing her closer, it can make her feel overwhelmed or even less attracted. Why? Because it shifts the dynamic of investment. Attraction, at its core, is a balance of energy. When one person is overly invested while the other is still figuring out their feelings, it creates an imbalance. She senses that you've already placed her on a pedestal, and suddenly there's no challenge, no intrigue. The scales tip, and what was once exciting now feels predictable. Let's explore this deeper. Imagine you've just started dating someone. Every morning you send her a thoughtful good morning text. Throughout the day you check in to see how she's doing, and in the evening you message again to wish her good night. On the surface, this seems sweet and attentive, but over time it can create a dynamic where your interest feels disproportionate to hers. She may start to feel pressured to match your level of investment before she's ready. Contrast this with a man who takes a more measured approach. He sends a message when he genuinely has something to say or when he wants to make plans. He's present and engaged when they're together, but he's also comfortable with periods of silence. He doesn't feel the need to constantly check in because he trusts the connection and knows his value isn't tied to her immediate responses. This man exudes quiet confidence, and as a result, she begins to value his attention more. Here's the paradox. The more you openly show your interest without a foundation of mutual investment, the less impactful that interest becomes. It's not because she doesn't appreciate your affection, it's because attraction thrives on the feeling of earning someone's attention and admiration. When everything is given freely and abundantly from the start, the emotional weight of those gestures diminishes. Think of attraction as a delicate dance of push and pull. When you step forward every time without giving her a chance to step toward you, the rhythm falters. But when you allow space for her to invest, to reach out, and to express her own interest, the connection becomes dynamic and balanced. She begins to appreciate your attention because it's not constantly on offer. It's meaningful and intentional when it appears. Now, this isn't to say you should withhold affection or play games. Genuine connection requires vulnerability and openness. But it's about pacing yourself, especially in the early stages. Let her see that while you're interested, you're not in a rush to fast-track the relationship. This patience creates a space where attraction can grow organically. It's also worth noting that understanding attraction means embracing uncertainty. There will be moments when she seems distant or less responsive, and your instinct might be to double down on your efforts to reassure her. But often the best response is to hold steady. Trust that if the connection is real, it will find its rhythm. By not reacting impulsively or trying to force a response, you show that you're confident in yourself and in the natural flow of the relationship. This balance of interest and attraction is a reflection of Stoicism in practice. You focus on what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your emotional resilience, and you let go of the need to control how she feels. When you embrace this approach, you not only enhance your attractiveness but also cultivate a sense of peace and self-assurance that benefits every area of your life. In the end, true attraction isn't about how much you show you care. It's about creating a dynamic where both people feel equally invested, equally valued, and equally intrigued. It's about giving her the space to choose you, not because you've overwhelmed her with attention, but because she genuinely feels drawn to you. And that kind of connection, it's worth the wait. 5. Dispelling the pushover myth. Let's clear the air on a common misconception. Does stepping back and practicing emotional detachment mean you're destined to become a pushover? Absolutely not. In fact, the opposite is true. Emotional detachment, when rooted in self-respect, transforms you into a man who commands respect, admiration, and genuine connection. Yet many fear that by pulling back, they'll come across as uncaring or disinterested. Let's break this myth once and for all. Picture this. You're on a date, and she makes a playful jab, perhaps teasing you about something trivial. A man lacking confidence might nervously laugh, overcompensate, or rush to reassure her, hoping to smooth over the moment. But the man who understands emotional detachment, he takes it in stride. He smiles, maybe throws in a witty response, but he remains composed. His sense of self isn't shaken by a playful comment because he knows his worth isn't up for debate. This scenario highlights a crucial point. Emotional detachment isn't about letting others walk all over you. It's about maintaining your emotional equilibrium regardless of the situation. When you stand firm in your values and boundaries, you naturally exude a quiet strength. This is what sets you apart from the crowd. Women notice when a man isn't easily swayed, and it draws them in because it signals maturity and self-assurance. Let's explore another common situation. You've made plans with her, but at the last minute she asks to reschedule. The pushover immediately rearranges his schedule to accommodate her, sending the message that his time is less valuable than hers. The man with self-respect, however, handles it differently. He might agree if it truly fits his schedule, but he's not afraid to say, "That doesn't work for me. Let's find another time." This response isn't rude, it's honest, and it shows that he values his own priorities. Women respect men who respect themselves. When you demonstrate that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable, you communicate that you're not here to be taken for granted. This creates a dynamic of mutual respect, which is the foundation of any healthy relationship. But let's be real, this isn't just about relationships. The principles of emotional detachment and self-respect extend to every area of your life. I think about your career, friendships, or personal goals. How often do you find yourself overextending, saying yes to things that don't serve you, just to keep the peace or avoid confrontation? What if, instead, you started setting boundaries and prioritizing what truly matters to you? Imagine the ripple effect that could have, not only on your confidence, but on how others perceive and treat you. Here's where Stoicism plays a vital role. The philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our boundaries, and to let go of the need to control external validation. When you embody this mindset, you're no longer seeking approval or fearing rejection. You're simply living in alignment with your values, and that is profoundly attractive. So how do you start implementing this shift? Begin by evaluating where you might be overcompensating or sacrificing your own needs for the sake of others. Then practice saying no, not out of spite, but from a place of self-respect. You'll find that when you prioritize your own well-being, the right people will naturally respect and value you more. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like you've compromised your boundaries to keep someone happy? How did it affect your self-respect and your relationships? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if this message resonates with you, give this video a like. Let's continue the conversation about how stepping back can actually help you step up in every aspect of your life. Remember, being a pushover doesn't come from caring less. It comes from valuing yourself less. When you shift that dynamic, you'll find that not only do women respect you more, but you also start to respect yourself in a way that's unshakable. And that, my friend, is where real confidence begins. 6. Modern challenges in dating. Dating in today's world is an entirely different beast. Gone are the days when meaningful connections were formed primarily through organic, face-to-face encounters. Now, with social media and dating apps dominating the landscape, the rules of attraction have shifted dramatically. The illusion of endless options, the pressure to present a picture-perfect life, and the constant stream of validation have created a dating culture that's both exhilarating and exhausting. In this environment, the traditional advice of being the doting, ever-available romantic often falls flat. Why? Because modern dating rewards those who stand out, not by trying harder, but by maintaining a sense of self in a sea of people clamoring for attention. In a world where validation is as easy as swiping right, it's those who don't seek it that become truly intriguing. Consider the typical interactions on dating apps. A man sends a thoughtful, carefully crafted message referencing her profile, highlighting shared interests, and asking engaging questions. On the surface, it seems perfect, but how does it feel when that effort is met with a lukewarm response, or worse, no response at all? It's disheartening, but it's also a symptom of the current dating climate. The constant barrage of messages and matches has diluted the impact of even the most genuine efforts. Now think of a different approach. A simple, confident message, perhaps playful or direct, but never overly invested. It carries an air of detachment, a suggestion that while you're interested, you're not dependent on her response for validation. This kind of message stands out because it feels effortless. It's not desperate, it's composed. And in today's fast-paced dating world, that composure is rare. Social media adds another layer of complexity. With curated posts, stories, and a never-ending scroll of seemingly perfect lives, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. You might find yourself wondering, how can I compete with the constant stream of likes and attention she gets? But here's the truth. Real connection isn't built on likes or comments. It's built on authenticity, and authenticity shines brightest when you're confident in your own value, regardless of external validation. This brings us to one of the most pervasive challenges of modern dating, the culture of disposability. With so many options at our fingertips, it's easy to fall into the mindset that there's always someone better just to swipe away. This can create a fear of missing out, leading people to hedge their bets, never fully investing in a single connection. For men, this often translates into overcompensating, sending multiple messages, constantly following up, or trying to stand out by being overly accommodating. But here's the paradox. The more you try to prove your worth in this environment, the more you blend in with everyone else. The key to breaking this cycle is to detach from the need to compete for attention. Instead of trying to match the pace of modern dating, slow down. Focus on quality over quantity. Prioritize meaningful connections over fleeting interactions. When you do this, you naturally stand out because you're not chasing the same validation as everyone else. Stoicism provides a powerful framework for navigating these challenges. It teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our mindset, and our responses, while letting go of what lies beyond our control, like how many people swipe right or how quickly someone responds to a message. By embracing this philosophy, you can move through the dating world with a sense of calm and confidence, unshaken by the superficial highs and lows. When you approach modern dating with this mindset, you become a rare find. You're not just another profile seeking validation, you're a man with a clear sense of self, unbothered by the noise of endless options and fleeting attention. This kind of presence is magnetic because it signals that you're here for something real, not just another notch in the digital landscape. In a dating culture that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, being the man who knows his worth, who doesn't chase or cling, is a breath of fresh air. You become someone who isn't easily swayed by the trends of modern dating, but instead, someone who commands respect and attention simply by staying true to himself. And that is precisely what makes you unforgettable. 7. The Art of Genuine Indifference. Let's end with a question. When was the last time you truly let someone miss you? In the age of constant connectivity, where texts, likes, and notifications blur the lines between presence and absence, the concept of giving space has almost become a lost art. Yet it's in that very space where attraction quietly grows. This is the essence of genuine indifference, not a game, but a mindset of calm self-assurance. Genuine indifference isn't about acting cold or pretending you don't care. It's about reaching a point where her presence enhances your life, but her absence doesn't diminish it. When you master this, you're sending a powerful message. I am here because I want to be, not because I need to be. This distinction is crucial because it shifts the dynamic from dependence to choice. And choice, my friend, is what fuels real connection. Imagine this. You've been seeing someone for a few weeks, and suddenly she seems a bit more distant. The instinctive reaction might be to lean in, send a few more messages, ask what's wrong, maybe even double down on showing her how much you care. But here's the thing. This often backfires. Instead of pulling her closer, you risk creating an unspoken pressure. She may feel like she needs to reassure you, or, worse, that your emotional stability depends on her constant validation. Now consider a different approach. Instead of reacting immediately, you step back. You trust the connection you've built and allow her the space to navigate her own emotions. Maybe she's busy, maybe she's processing something, or maybe she's just testing the waters to see how you'll respond. By holding your ground and maintaining your usual rhythm, you're showing her that you're not easily shaken. You respect her need for space because you also value your own. This balance of independence and connection creates a dynamic that keeps her intrigued. She starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing? Why does he seem so confident and composed? And it's in these moments of curiosity that her attraction begins to deepen. She'll come to appreciate the rare experience of being with a man who doesn't rush to fill every gap with words or gestures, but instead allows the relationship to breathe. Let's talk about silence for a moment. Most people fear silence in relationships. They interpret it as a sign of distance or disinterest. But silence, when embraced with confidence, is incredibly powerful. It shows that you're comfortable with stillness, that you don't feel the need to constantly entertain or prove yourself. Silence allows for reflection, for longing, and for a deeper appreciation of the time you do spend together. This is where Stoicism becomes your ally. The philosophy reminds us that we are not defined by the actions of others, but by our own internal compass. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the context of relationships, this means that your emotional well-being should never hinge on how quickly someone texts back or how often they express their feelings. By cultivating this inner strength, you become a steady, grounding presence in her life. Another important aspect of genuine indifference is recognizing that you are not in control of her feelings. Attraction, like the tides, ebbs and flows naturally. Trying to force it through constant attention or overinvestment is like trying to hold water in your hands. It slips away the tighter you grip. Instead, let it flow. Trust that the connection will either deepen on its own or reveal itself as not the right fit, and either outcome is okay because your sense of self remains intact. Here's a practical way to embody this mindset. The next time you're tempted to initiate contact or seek reassurance, ask yourself, what would the man who values his peace and purpose do right now? Often the answer is to redirect that energy back into your own life. Focus on your goals, your passions, and your growth. By doing this, you not only maintain your composure but also become even more magnetic in her eyes. Genuine indifference, at its core, is about freedom. Freedom from the anxiety of constant validation, freedom to be your authentic self, and freedom to let relationships unfold naturally. When you master this, you stop chasing fleeting moments of approval and start building connections based on mutual respect and genuine attraction. So the next time you find yourself overthinking her actions or feeling the urge to chase, remember, the most captivating man in the room isn't the one vying for attention. He's the one who stands confidently in his own space, allowing others to step into it. That's the man who commands her attention, her curiosity, and ultimately her love. 8. Mastering the balance between caring and independence. Attraction isn't about extremes, it's about balance. The most captivating relationships are those where two people come together not out of necessity, but out of choice. And choice only thrives in an environment where independence is respected and nurtured. This is why mastering the delicate interplay between showing care and maintaining your individuality is crucial. Think of it this way. A flame needs both heat and oxygen to thrive. Too much heat, and it risks burning out quickly. Too much oxygen, and the flame may struggle to stay lit. In relationships, showing care is the heat. It fuels connection and intimacy. But independence, that's the oxygen. It gives the relationship room to breathe, grow, and evolve. So how do you master this balance? It begins with redefining what it means to care. Many believe that caring is about constant attention, always being available, and going above and beyond to meet every need. But true care isn't measured by quantity, it's measured by quality. It's about being present and attentive when you're together while also respecting each other's need for space and individuality. Imagine you're dating someone, and she's had a stressful week. You want to show her you care, so you offer to spend time together to help her relax. That's thoughtful. But what if she declines, saying she needs some alone time to decompress? A man who hasn't mastered the balance might take this personally, seeing it as a rejection or a sign that she's pulling away. He might even push back, insisting on meeting to fix things. But a man who understands the balance knows that caring also means respecting her autonomy. He acknowledges her needs without feeling the need to impose. "No problem," he says. "Take the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready." This response shows emotional maturity and confidence. It communicates care without overstepping boundaries, reinforcing that her feelings are valued and that you trust the connection to hold steady even during moments of distance. Here's another scenario. You're in a relationship and she's going through a busy phase. You notice that her responses are a bit slower, her energy a bit scattered. The old you might have tried harder, sending more messages, suggesting more meetups, or seeking reassurance that everything is okay. But now, armed with a deeper understanding of balance, you recognize this as an opportunity to focus on your own life. Instead of crowding her space, you invest your energy into your goals, hobbies, and friendships. You stay present in your world, knowing that a strong relationship isn't about constant togetherness, but about two fulfilled individuals coming together to share their experiences. And what happens? She notices. She sees that you're not clinging or seeking validation, and this draws her back with renewed interest and admiration. This approach is not about detachment in the sense of disconnection. It's about healthy detachment that enhances the connection. By maintaining your independence, you're not diminishing the care you have for her. You're amplifying its impact. When she sees that you have your own fulfilling life, she'll feel both relieved and inspired. Relieved because the pressure to constantly validate your worth is lifted, and inspired because she's with someone who embodies strength and self-assurance. One of the most powerful outcomes of this balance is that it cultivates mutual respect. She respects your time, your boundaries, and your sense of purpose, just as you respect hers. This mutual respect forms the foundation for a partnership where both individuals feel valued and free to be themselves. Stoicism teaches that true confidence comes from within and isn't dependent on external circumstances. This principle is especially relevant here. When you anchor your self-worth to your own values and growth, rather than seeking it in her approval, you become unshakable. This inner stability allows you to navigate the ebbs and flows of the relationship with grace, avoiding the traps of insecurity and overinvestment. Ultimately, mastering the balance between caring and independence isn't just about improving your relationships, it's about evolving as a person. It's about becoming someone who can give and receive love from a place of strength, not neediness. When you embody this balance, you create a dynamic where attraction can flourish, deepening your connection in ways that are both profound and enduring. Take a moment to reflect. How often have you felt the need to overcompensate in a relationship? How did it affect the dynamic? Now imagine approaching your next connection with this balance in mind, present, engaged, but never dependent. It's a game changer, and it's one of the most liberating shifts you can make, both for yourself and for the woman lucky enough to be in your life. We've journeyed through the intricacies of attraction, uncovering the powerful truth that sometimes the best way to draw her closer is by stepping back. It's not about playing games or withholding affection, but about cultivating a mindset of self-assurance and emotional independence. This paradox, showing care without losing yourself, lies at the heart of what truly captivates and sustains meaningful relationships. By now, you've seen how embracing the principles of genuine indifference, emotional detachment, and balanced care can transform not only your dating life, but your overall sense of self-worth. Each of these elements works together to create a dynamic that fosters respect, intrigue, and deep connection. But here's the real beauty of this approach. It frees you. It frees you from the anxiety of overthinking her every action, from the need to constantly seek validation, and from the fear of losing her. Instead, it places the power back where it belongs, in your hands. You realize that your worth isn't determined by her responses, but by the man you've chosen to become. Imagine carrying this mindset into every aspect of your life. You walk into a room not seeking approval, but radiating confidence. You engage in relationships from a place of abundance, not scarcity. You show up as a man who is whole, whether he's in love or standing alone. And in doing so, you invite a love that's rooted in mutual respect and admiration. So where do you go from here? Start by reflecting on your current or past relationships. Where have you leaned in too hard? Where could you have pulled back to create space for mutual investment? Use these insights to guide your next steps. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to take action. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How have you experienced the power of stepping back in your relationships? Let's build a community where we can learn from each other's journeys. And if you're ready to continue this path of growth, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insights on mastering yourself and your relationships. Together, we'll explore how to cultivate the kind of confidence and presence that doesn't just attract love, it sustains it. Thank you for taking the time to engage with this journey. Remember, your value starts from within, and the right connections will always recognize that. Until next time, keep growing, stay grounded, and never forget, true strength lies in knowing when to step forward and when to step back.